crime, comedy, violence. The average Gen Z, these three words might describe a trending meme on TikTok or one of the popular Twitter battles humanity has witnessed. But for those oldies who love movies back in the day, these words probably call to memories way stronger. They take you back to a time in Hollywood when by the hands of one man, the course of film production changed forever. That man was Quentin Tarantino. Whether you're a granny who lived through the era or you're an old soul seeking crime thrillers in its purest form, chances are you have crossed paths with Quentin's masterpieces. Quentin isn't just a man who made films, he lived films. For him, film has always been an extension of himself, but his love for the big screen wasn't something he acquired when he ventured into Hollywood. Rather, it goes way back in time to a period when he was nothing but a young kid in Los Angeles. For Quentin, it seems to be more of a calling than a mere hobby. His father, Tony Tarantino, was an aspiring actor and filmmaker, so I guess the apple never fell too far from the tree. And if it wasn't enough conviction, Quentin's name itself was coined from the movie character Quint Asper in Gunsmoke. Clearly, Quentin had his life career mapped out for him from the cradle. It wasn't surprising that he took a deep liking to films as a young boy, especially ones whose plots were similar to the ones he would grow up to produce. If that isn't foreshadowing at its finest, I don't know what is. His interest in films was so intense that at the age of 15, he dropped out of school after participating in 2 plays. Well, considering that his grades in school were as encouraging as the sound of rain during an outdoor picnic, we can all agree that dropping out was one step in the right direction.
I wanted to quit school and become an actor when I was about 16. And my mom said, okay, if you're gonna quit, you gotta get a job. Now,
young Quentin took on various jobs after this, all of which got him closer and closer to the big stage. After working as an usher in Pussycat Theater, an adult movie theater, he landed another job at a store called Video Archives in Manhattan Beach, California. Imagine being able to stroll into Disneyland after a tiring day at work. That was what Video Archives was to local film lovers, including Quentin. Many described it as more of a film school than a video rental store, and rightfully so. Or what else would you call a place where you could walk into intense film analysts by other film lovers like yourself? Little wonder why he was fascinated. It became his haven, his own YouTube, if you will. But most importantly, it helped him realize that beyond acting, he had a talent for an even bigger responsibility: directing. Heartbreaks don't always come from a strained romantic relationship, do they? Sometimes being the only one who understands your dream can be heartbreaking too. For Quentin, the latter seemed to be the case, and his scripts kept getting rejected repeatedly until 1993 when he sold his script True Romance for $30,000. But even with this, his big break was yet to come. Back in 1990, Quentin met American film producer Lawrence Bender, who became his mentor through his debut directing project Reservoir Dogs. Lawrence took a special liking to Quentin and was wowed by the script the latter showed him, so much so that he introduced the script to everyone who cared to read it until it landed in the hands of one of America's tough guy actors, Harvey Keitel. He, like the others, fell in love with the script and believed in Quentin's ability to direct it. In his word, "I made the assumption that whoever could have written this must be an intelligent, articulate person. If he wrote this, you have to give him a shot to direct it." Harvey became so invested into the production of the film, he even sponsored the team's trip to New York for the casting. Talk about a solid support system. With solid backing, Quentin's confidence soared up to the point of making important decisions, especially during the shooting. For him, the entire directing project was like making a sandwich. All ingredients are available and just need to be put together. He had the script, he had the money, and he had the cast. Certainly, Quentin must have wished it was as easy as whipping up a sandwich, in which it turned out to be a major test of his leadership abilities, working with different people with different attitudes and needs. But while other directors would have turned into the Grinch during this time, Quentin's charm saved the day. Flexible enough to accommodate everyone while keeping all on their toes. What else would any cast want in a director? In Harvey's words, Quentin won their confidence from day one. Reservoir Dogs, released in 1992, gained wide acceptance but immediately came under fire for its heavy depiction of violence and vulgar words. Particularly in the ear-cutting scene, quite several critics drew a line on the extent to which violence should be permissible on screen, and it soon became a question of when does violence become too violent. However, the criticism seemed to have the opposite effect on the unique producer. To Quentin, the criticism could only mean one thing: that the scene was so well shot that it looked real. It means we did it so well. For what it's worth, the critics surprisingly seemed to agree with him despite their reservations. Even the not-so-generous film review meter Rotten Tomatoes scored it an outstanding 90% rating based on 81 reviews. Its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival placed it on the lips of anyone and everyone who cared about crime comedy films, leading in Miramax Films to take up its production. It ranked in quite several accolades for a debut, including the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Male in 1992 and Critics Award at the 4th Ubari International Fantastic Film Festival in 1993. It was also ranked 97th in Empire Magazine's 500 Greatest Films of All Time. As much as Quentin celebrated the success of Reservoir Dogs, he knew it meant greater pressure to live up to it with his second book. It was as though he anticipated that people would hate it. He said, "They overpraised my first film. They're gonna undervalue my second film. It's gonna get less recognition." The reviews on the violence portrayed in his last film had not yet been forgotten, so production houses had a hard time getting convinced on his next project, Pulp Fiction. The film featured 4 separate but connected stories of crime and violence in California. Starring Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, and others, the film pays homage to pulp magazines and novels that were popular during the mid-20th century. It did not help matters that his new project had even more scintillating violence along with its unique dialogues. In fact, TriStar Pictures backed out of producing it on the grounds that it was too long, violent, and unfilmable. However, Miramax Films picked up the script and production was back on track again. Another move that came under public scrutiny was his decision to cast the controversial John Travolta in the upcoming movie. The words on the streets were clear. Casting a once adored actor with a struggling career didn't seem like a smart move for his debut film. There was no denying that he was a fantastic actor, even dubbed the pop culture king of the 70s. However, the media wondered if Quentin's coming film would be enough to revive his career. But whatever Quentin saw in John and the film in general evidently paid off. Pulp Fiction replicated the accolades that Reservoir Dogs got. Just like last time, critics had all but negative reviews to give. Metacritic scored it 95%, while Rotten Tomatoes scored the film an impressive 92% from 182 reviews, describing it as a cinematic shot of adrenaline. With a record smash of $200 million worldwide, it's safe to say the film broke the internet. It earned universal acclaim as it resonated with a wide array of audiences, even on a spiritual level. The film won the Palme d'Or at the 1994 Cannes Film Festival, was named Best Picture by the National Society of Film Critics, received 7 Oscar nominations, won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and won Best Screenplay at the 52nd Golden Globe Awards. Pulp Fiction gained a widely accepted status as a yardstick in the film industry, largely credited with revolutionizing the manner of storytelling and cinema in general. No doubt Quentin Tarantino etched his name in history as a daring screenwriter and director. Pulp Fiction was dubbed his magnum opus or highest masterpiece as it continued to gain recognition years after its release. However, for Quentin, there was the lingering question of exploring other forms of films or catering to the needs of his wide audience. It might seem like an easy choice, but when one earns such a cult following as he did, it really becomes a thing of choosing between the devil and the deep blue sea. Should an insanely creative mind like Quentin stick to his audience who might just want more of the same old thing, or explore other genres? The well-decorated director doesn't seem to mind either of the options. In his words, it was about leaving a thoughtfully composed filmography. Perhaps this informed his decision to release just 10 films before he retires. To him, what mattered was how his films would be thought of 30 years from now. Quentin Tarantino is a testament to the power of dedication and passion. His story serves as a gateway into the past era of film production, leaving younger generations with a remarkable legacy to appreciate. He admits that filmmaking is hard and that his success is highly due to an overnight break. But a result of 8 years of trying out different things, Quentin Quentin Tarantino's legacy highlights his commitment to creating unforgettable drama and remains one of the reasons why he is revered by both old and young within and outside the industry. Now, it's clear we've only scratched the surface of Quentin Tarantino's iconic career. Let me know, what's your favorite Quentin Tarantino film that we didn't talk about? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much again for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to click and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.